Hey everybody, it's Natalie B. McKenzie with The Whole Woman, and welcome to this week's episode of Living Life Authentically with yours truly. As you know, this season of Living Life Authentically with Natalie B. McKenzie is brought to you by Diageo North America. We remind you to drink responsibly, learn about Drink IQ. Thank you to Diageo North America, and stay tuned for more on our partnership. Well, this week we have quite an exciting guest. I cannot wait to chat with him. He is not a guest, but indeed a friend of TWW, and we enjoy sharing what he's about with you. He serves as executive director of Teaneck International Film Festival, affectionately known as TIFF, at the Puffin Foundation. Under his leadership, he has been committed to activism, making a change. In recognition of his mission, the Star Ledger, New Jersey's leading newspaper, dubbed TIFF the film festival with a social conscience. TIFF is considered one of the most prominent social justice film festivals in the nation. In 2020, I'll tell you who shortly, was named 5th Congressional District Hometown Hero by U.S. Congressman Josh Gothenheimer. He was honored by the Bergen County Executive and the Board of Chosen Freeholders and the Bergen County African American Advisory Committee for Black History Month with Business Contribution Award. Additionally, he was the recipient of the first Community Partner Award presented by the Lentz of Bergen County. He was also named Teaneck's Man of the Year by the Teaneck Chamber of Commerce. His commitment to promoting racial equality, and other social justice-related causes is unyielding. He also serves as the director of Lentz and Lentz SAT Prep with college prep classes throughout the northeastern part of the U.S. And he is a proud investor in the current Broadway production of Tina, the Tina Turner musical. He is also very involved with the upcoming Broadway productions of American Buffalo and Fly More Than You Fall. There is so much more to tell, but I'll let him tell it. Help me welcome today's guest, none other than Jeremy Lentz.
Hello, Natalie. So good to be here and be back on The Whole Woman. It's great to see you.
Always a pleasure hosting you, and it's always about this time of year, and we know upcoming is the famous, beloved Teaneck International Film Festival. Let's show our viewers what we have in store.
The Supreme Court's recent ban on abortion violates the religious freedoms of Jews and Muslims, both communities that allow for abortions.
Involve Jewish boys and girls fighting against the Nazis.
That people have to live. People have a fundamental right to eat.
Health is a human right, period.
How can we help the most vulnerable? Because that's the project.
C'est Israël, une pour Palestine.
Anyone can fly. All you gotta do is try.
When you eat together, you stick together.
My mother always said that.
I felt that I had a message, but people did not choose to listen to what I was saying.
The profit of people's pain. You can only be furious.
We want to provoke conversation. We want to provoke ideas.
I really like to think a beautiful, loving world is possible.
We came to the South, young Jews, rabbis. We hear Dr. King quoting the prophets. That was extraordinary.
This huge, loud silence regarding AIDS. No one wanted to talk about it. No one wanted to become involved.
We love to laugh at ourselves, and I think that's part of our ability to survive, is to laugh and to enjoy. But there's a big difference between laughing and ridiculing.
Vous trouvez pas que ça a assez duré? Ce serait mieux de me dire la vérité.
Jeremy, you've taken on just about everything in the news today. Wow.
Yeah, it's really timely. It hits hard.
You're of Jewish faith, Jewish descendant. And for viewers who've not met you before, give us a little bit on your background, because just the whole lineup of your movie is just, of the movies, that's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, my personal background, I come from Eastern European Jewry. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors. They emigrated to the US in 1950. Both my grandmother and grandfather survived the camps and came here literally with the shirts on their back. And they were the only survivors pretty much in their family. And on my father's side, both grandparents are Russian. Their grandparents came here at the turn of the century, escaped pogroms in Russia. And grandma and grandpa on that side were native New Yorkers. My grandfather grew up on the Lower East Side, and my grandmother was born in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. So they were very assimilated Jews, very different. So I had these two kind of different grandparents juxtaposed, and they taught me so much, I think, about art and culture, but also understanding who you are, where you came from, rising above, and really focused on love and family. And they helped shape me to who I am. So I guess, so much of the work that I do at TIFF, kind of those values are instilled in me.
What drives your need for social justice? Because that undergirds just about everything you do, and all the awards and accolades you've received. Really shines a light on the fact that you are committed to that and you've been true to that.
Yeah, I guess there's just always been a little voice inside, something about fighting for the little guy, something about giving marginalized groups the opportunity to have a voice, and coming from a marginalized group, not only as a Jewish person who's grandson of Holocaust survivors, also as a gay man. I think, you're always kind of fighting and finding your voice in a time when, particularly now in this country, it just feels like there's so much noise, there's so much static, and so much stuff coming from all different angles. And I feel like there need to be places where people can come, learn about real issues, engage with community. And I think it's really things like the Teaneck International Film Festival that open hearts and change minds. Because when you get out of these silos and from being behind a screen or a computer, and actually meet your neighbors and come and hear real stories about real people being told, and have the ability to ask questions, that's how we make change in our community. And that's really been the driving force behind the Teaneck International Film Festival.
Jeremy, as we were preparing to get on air, you said something that really resonated with me. And you said, we were talking about the current affairs, the news, what's happening in the Middle East, and whether or not you had family there, et cetera. And you said to me, Natalie, it's so much more complicated than we see. Do you mind sharing that with our viewers?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a long history, and it's so layered in terms of the Middle East conflict and what's going on now. And I think it's so easy for people to watch a 60-second clip on social media and feel like they have become an expert on something. And emotions are so high right now. This year in particular, the film festival deals with issues that relate to the Israel-Palestine conflict. And we have Palestinian films, we have Israeli films, we have films that particularly deal with the Nakba, the Day of Mourning, Israeli Independence Day, with the Holocaust, films that deal with Jewish and Arab women coming together to overcome their differences. And none of that, all this was curated before October 7th. Right? So it was almost like when these events happened, we're like, oh, wait a minute, we're really walking into this year. And when you run a film festival with a social conscience, as we've been dubbed, every year there are issues that come up. But this year, has really been a challenge in terms of how to handle these issues with the most sensitivity when there's so much anger and I think so much emotion on all sides right now, where we want to be able to showcase the art, but also be able to have important conversations and let people come and take away from it what they can. So that's the hope, and it's not easy. The work that we do, it feels like the heavy lifting.
So let's talk about the film festival. It runs November 5th, that would be today, through the 12th. Tell us about some of the things that we can expect to see, where we can see it. How do we get tickets? Is it too late to participate?
No, it's not too late. The film festival is also hybrid. So I want to mention to your viewers, you can experience the festival in person, or you can experience it virtually. So for anyone, anywhere in the United States, you can buy a virtual pass at teaneckfilmfestival.org. And that'll allow you 1 week from today through next Sunday at midnight to watch the films in the virtual series on demand. And the great thing about this year is the films are on demand, whereas in the past you had to log in at a designated date and time. Now watch it at your convenience, and you have the links, and the links also come with a recorded talkback. So you still get the same experience. And then for those that want to participate in person, we kick off this afternoon with a children's series that's curated by the New York International Children's Film Festival. It's called Kid Flicks. And Bob McGrath, who you remember from Sesame Street, who was a Teaneck resident, curated that every year for us and hosted it. And he passed in the last year. So this year is being dedicated to him. His daughter is coming to accept a plaque in his honor. And it's free, thanks to a grant from the Puffin Foundation. And that's going to be today at 1:30 for anyone who's tuning in. You can sign up again at teaneckfilmfestival.org. And then we're in person starting this Thursday, November 9th, with our official opening night, Invisible Beauty, sponsored by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, returning on Friday, where the links are presenting the rebellious life of Rosa Parks. And then all day, Saturday and Sunday, films from 11 o'clock to about 10 o'clock at night, with talkbacks the entire day at 3 different venues throughout Teaneck, which are the Teaneck Cinemas, the Puffin Cultural Forum, and Temple Emma. So I'd encourage all your viewers to get on that website, check out the films. You can watch the trailers, buy tickets, check out the schedule. It's all online.
This is phenomenal. How did you manage to cultivate such a world-renowned, nationally recognized film festival in a little town of Teaneck in Bergen County? And then you have all these community partners that I think line up and wait to get involved with you every single year.
Because it was actually all here. I took over the festival, Natalie, in its 4th year. And when I took it over, we didn't have the theme of activism making change, our permanent theme. But what I saw was we were co-founded with the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, with the links. We had the support of the Puffin Foundation, which provides grant funding to artists who are marginalized. And the history of Teaneck being really an activist community, first town in America that voted to voluntarily desegregate its schools. So I looked at the festival and I said, why and how are people going to come to Teaneck? What makes us unique when you have New York City, 5 miles across the river, with some of the most world premiere film festivals? I said, the work that we're doing here is special, and it's already set up community-based with these partner organizations. So we established that permanent theme, and changed our mission to give us this activist focus and really make us a social justice film festival. And I think that really repurposed us in the sense of bringing in all these wonderful community partners that do great work throughout the state of New Jersey and elevating our community and making it a festival that is about community. Unlike other film festivals that you've been to, a lot of it is really inside baseball. It's, industry driven. And if you're not in the industry, you really come in and you feel like you're an outsider, or you can't afford to go to these festivals because their passes are hundreds of dollars, if not more, or traveling there. So one of the things that we've really prided ourselves on is making it accessible, making it affordable. Ticket prices are low. We get grants to kind of offset the cost. So taking all of that into consideration, it really is a festival about community, about engagement.
And I like what you said. It's activism making change. It is a community event for the community, by the community. And you've done it successfully. How many years has the Teaneck International Film Festival been featured?
18th year, Natalie.
Wow. You guys are adults now. So you have been running this for 14 years and you've been able to garner the community support. Tell me about some of the feature films that will be featured.
We have films from all over the world: Pakistan, Palestine, Israel, France. We have American films and something really for everybody. Some films to spotlight. We have Nikki Giovanni's new film, which tells her story, called Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni Project, and this idea that she has of Black women inhabiting the planet of Mars, which she talks about in the film. We have a film called Shared Legacies, which talks about how African Americans and the American Jewish community work together towards civil rights and kind of our shared legacies. And that's paired with New Jersey short that talks about the only documented lynching right here in the state of New Jersey, and that's called The Empty Saddle. And the Martin Luther King Birthday Committee and the Jewish Historical Society of Northern New Jersey are sponsoring that together. Faith Ringgold, who's an Englewood resident and a world-renowned artist, is coming in with her documentary, Tell It Like It Is. We have a closing night film that deals with Bella Abzug, the famous New York politician who was known for her fabulous hats, who, I think was one of the first politicians that got out there and worked on things like gay rights, the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA. She worked with Shirley Chisholm and so many of the feminists of the 70s and 60s that really championed the causes of equality and women's rights and voter rights and LGBT rights. And that film features an incredible lineup of interviews with people like Barbara Streisand, Shirley MacLaine, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, and the list goes on and on and on. And the talkback will feature the filmmaker Jeff Lieberman, along with our own great senator, Loretta Weinberg.
Fabulous. This is exciting. Jeremy, you made an announcement on social media a few weeks ago that would be remiss if we didn't talk about. Something on the horizon. Tell us about that as well.
So I think, if I'm correct, Natalie, you're referring to the film that I'm producing, my first feature-length film. Really exciting. A film called The Fabulous Four that'll feature a fabulous cast of four iconic actresses: Bette Midler, Susan Sarandon, Megan Mullally, and my dear friend Cheryl Lee Ralph. And it's a road trip movie, a rom-com about four women who get together later in life for their best friend's wedding. And they have a bachelorette party and take a road trip to Key West and what ensues along the way. So something to make us laugh, something that I think will be enjoyed by all different kinds of generations, and a really fun film which should drop sometime next year. And I'll be happy to come back and talk about it when the premiere comes out. We just wrapped taping in Savannah, Georgia, where the film was shot.
Oh, that's exciting. I am so excited for you. And Jeremy, tell us a little bit more about the upcoming, about the festival that started yesterday, because I really want to make sure that we know we can still get involved. I'm so excited to see Friday's feature film about Rosa Parks. But now you've piqued my interest. So I have to really check out the listing and times to see what I'll see in person and what I'll watch online.
Yeah, there's so much. I would just encourage people to go to the website, check out the trailers, see what sparks your interest, because as you saw from the sizzle reel that you just showed, there really is so much. Other films of interest for folks may be The Devil's Confession, which talks about the lost Eichmann tapes and really exposes a very dark world of a man who was the mastermind of the final solution and tells a story that most don't know. Another film who, I want to mention because I know she's a friend of the whole woman, Vivian Scott Chu is sponsoring Commitment to Life along with the YWCA of Northern New Jersey and the Newbridge LGBTQ Health and Wellness Center, which is a really new institution that's an affiliate of Rutgers that is the first of its kind in our neighborhood. It is a primary care provider for the LGBT community right here in Paramus that's staffed by LGBTQ doctors, and really something that we have never had in Northern New Jersey. And two films that are being shown deal with Hollywood's response to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. You saw Elizabeth Taylor in that film, and it talks about her experience in starting her foundation and really holding Ronald Reagan accountable, where, up until the end of his presidency, he never would even utter the word HIV or AIDS. And she got him to say that word because of her friend Rock Hudson, who ultimately died of AIDS, who Ronald was friends with, having been an actor in Hollywood before. And also talks about Cheryl Lee Ralph's involvement, dealing with how the epidemic kind of shifted for people of color, particularly in Los Angeles, where they really were segregated. And it was things like Divas Simply Singing and Catch One, the famous nightclub in LA. Jewel talks about how they had to do fundraisers within the African-American community and things like Divas Simply Singing to really raise awareness within that community and raise funds. So really interesting talkback, which I will moderate. And it's paired with a short that Cheryl Lee Ralph executive produced called Unexpected, that deals with the experience today in the South of two women who prepare kits for Black women who are HIV positive and pregnant in the South, and tells that story. So important conversations. And the National Coalition is also a co-sponsor on that. I didn't want to leave them out. And it's dedicated in loving memory to Vivian Chu's brother who passed of AIDS. There's so much that's timely. We have stories from local filmmakers who are returning, people right here in our backyard in Teaneck and Englewood and the surrounding areas, where they have an opportunity to meet these filmmakers, talk to them. So if you're a filmmaker or a writer and you have content, this festival is a great opportunity to get out there and make connections.
Jeremy's such a full roster and
so much to talk about, Natalie. We can literally be here for all day talking about the films.
But I want to talk about them. I want people to go out and see them and then have conversations with them, because it's so important that we support the arts, that we support local arts. And this particular festival, what makes it special is it's with a purpose. And the purpose is to get people who don't necessarily look alike, but are experiencing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
That if we talk with people who don't necessarily look like us, this is a great safe space to have those conversations, to see those conversations being had and hear them and walk away with a new mindset. And you do that so very well. You've got a great poster for the festival this year. Tell us about this.
Yes, the poster was designed by Carolyn Komerska. And this features snapshots or stills from each individual film. Every film that is featured in the festival. And obviously also thanks our major sponsors whose logos are listed at the bottom.
Fabulous. So, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're just joining us, we're talking with Jeremy Lentz of the Teaneck International Film Festival, which is taking place as we speak. It runs November 5th through the 12th. There is still time for you to get your tickets at the Teaneck International Film Festival. teaneckfilmfestival.org. It's so easy to find. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook, but it's teaneckfilmfestival.org for your virtual passes or for tickets. You can see this in person and you can watch online. The talkbacks are also going to be available. The location for the theaters, tell us where those are for those who are going to be coming in person.
3 locations: Teaneck Cinemas, which is located at 503 Cedar Lane, the Puffin Cultural Forum at 20 Puffin Way, and Temple Emeth at 1666 Windsor Road, all in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Fabulous. Never too far from home. Jeremy, what is on the horizon for next year? What can we look forward to?
Well, we kick off TIFF Returns in the winter with our partnership with PBS. We do an independent lens documentary series that focuses once again on building community and shedding light on new topics. So we have a virtual film series in the winter months that runs from January through through April, actually, 4 films that we do that are curated in partnership with PBS. And the festival also has been doing a June Pride series prior to the film festival, then again in November. And I myself will be working on some new projects in the theater world as well as the film world. So lots of things upcoming on the horizon. But the work that we do here at TIFF, it really is a true labor of love and couldn't be done without the support of the community and our army of volunteers that comes together each year to put this on and really build this festival. It's not a one-man show by any stretch. And I think our longevity speaks to the commitment of the community. And that's something that really, I think, strikes filmmakers when they come out here versus other film festivals, is that a suburban community of 40,000 people has been able to maintain and successfully host a festival like this over the last 18 years, and what that means to the filmmakers, because their films are actually being seen by the audiences that they were made for.
You know, Jeremy, you are truly a man of the community. Forget the accolades. You've gotten the accolades because you live what you represent. You truly do. And I remember in prior conversations, you talk about having chosen to move to the town of Teaneck because of what it represented for you. But really what you represent for me is the fact that in a flawed society where we seem to highlight our differences so much, you truly come to the table and remind us all of what we have in common, and that we have one desire, which is to live happily, safely, and to be loved. How are you finding that helps you to keep your partnerships and build more partnerships year after year?
Thank you. I mean, you said it so well. I mean, that's what makes us come back. And it's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to do that. But I think, you know, as difficult as it is and as challenging as it is to put on the festival, when we actually see it come to fruition and we're out there talking to the community and meeting people and having people come up to us and show us how something has changed their life or impacted their life for the better, or how, you know, they connected with new people or got involved in a cause, that makes it worth it. When we read about in the paper how a woman was inspired to raise money through her church to go to Ghana to give money to an orphanage for disabled children because she saw a 10-minute short that was done in the film festival and felt compelled from her heart to do something. And we didn't even know about it until we read it in the newspaper. And when you hear those stories, how can we not do what we're doing? It's such gratifying work, albeit hard work. And the work has gotten harder because it feels like times have gotten more polarized. But I do strongly believe in humanity and that people want the same things, and that when we can come to the table and sit down together and learn about each other in a respectful way where there is love, anything is possible.
I don't know, Jeremy, I feel like you should close this segment, not me. But in the spirit of love and in the spirit of giving and in the spirit of community, remember, get on out, support it. Let's continue to support the Teaneck International Film Festival. It's happening as we speak. It runs through this weekend, and you can still get tickets at teaneckfilmfestival.org. We know we have viewers all around the world, so check in, log in. You can participate virtually. And as we do this and sit across from each other and have conversations and commune with those who don't necessarily look like us, and do it in the spirit of love, what a perfect time for us to remind you that our holiday fundraiser comes back to you in its 10th year, where we'll raise toys for children in need and children of incarcerated parents in partnership with the Bergen County Sheriff's Office, and giving money back to Never Alone Again for supporting the work that they do here in Bergen County on Sunday, December 3rd at Capitol Grill. We're talking with Jeremy Lentz, ladies and gentlemen, of the Teaneck International Film Festival. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of communing, giving back to the community, go out and support them. Join us on December 3rd at Capitol Grill. Tickets are available at holiday2023.eventbrite.com. We've been talking with Jeremy Lentz from the Teaneck International Film Festival. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, your host of Living Life Authentically with yours truly, and I wish you enough life to live, enough joy to give, enough love to share. I wish you enough. Good night.